says recording.
That means, as far as I know, that we're live.
Sweet. Well, relatively live, right?
Yeah, we're relatively live. Welcome, everybody. Austin is joining us from a unique location right now.
I am in Neptune Beach, Florida. Probably about 25 minutes, 30 minutes from the Jacksonville Community First Igloo, where we are hosting our Florida camp coming up this weekend.
Yep. And you're down there already laying the groundwork for it, right?
Yeah, I was at the rink all morning, as I was kind of telling you earlier. What a facility. It's an incredible place. I played here 7 or 8 years ago, my second year pro, so I guess 7 years ago. And it was a birthday facility. It was basically just 4 walls made of what had to be strictly just tin. And
right.
Aside from us practicing there, it was literally just meant for birthday parties. Now,
oh, here we go. You gotta be kidding me.
What's going on, guys?
TB.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, I didn't I didn't tell Stu that that you
oh
were
my
coming on.
gosh.
Oh, is this working right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear you great.
It's
Perfect.
it's working, but I mean, you look a little bit more dapper than you normally do.
I think I'm gonna disagree with that. I think I always look that dapper.
You always look presidential, TB.
Always. Not quite as presidential as used to, but
TB, what are you doing right now?
Okay,
You were texting me saying you're driving through North Dakota or something?
yeah, I'm just driving back to Bismarck. So I gotta get there and help out my buddy with their hockey stuff that we got going on this summer. So just took a one day vacation back home and then heading back.
Oh, right on. For everyone who's listening right now, you're hearing the voice of Taylor Brierley. He's been a defenseman on our team for the last 2 years. Took a little bit of a break with the Fort Wayne Comets, I believe.
Yep.
Not sure what you were doing there, but you made your way back to us, thank God, because you, for those listening, TB is one of the pillars on our back end for our hockey team. So it's good to have you on the podcast, TB.
Yeah, good to finally be on. I was expecting an invite early on when you guys were talking about the reverse VEH, because I typically like to go upstairs, but that's all right.
You usually make your money up next to the goalie's ear. That's your spot.
Yeah, pretty much. No, but happy to be here.
Short side J bar.
Yeah, every once in a while, one kind of gets away from me, and I might plunk you in the head, but it's okay.
I literally watched him do that like 2 seasons ago against Knoxville.
Like clunk a goalie in the head or go J bar?
No, go short side from like below the half wall.
I mean, does he not do it to you like 6 times, or at least attempt 6 times?
He does it. He does it during the offensive progression drills, and then I just kind of like, I'm one of 2 modes. Either I try to protect it, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to eat this one, or I kind of just lower my head, and I'm like, I'm getting out of the way of this one.
I'm getting better at it during practice.
It's going there either
if I
way.
see your forehead there, I'm not gonna shoot it, but if it's there, I might go for it.
I don't think you've ever hit me in the head. But here's the thing. I kind of figured you out. Okay. I kind of figured you out. When you're coming down the wall and drool starts to drip down your mouth, I know that's when you're going short side J bar.
I'm just trying to help with the ice. I'm trying to lay a nice foundation for the ice so the Zam guy doesn't have to. That's why the drool's coming out.
If there's any sliver of daylight, like if that net isn't completely blacked out in that area, he's going for it.
I think there was one time, Lots, I was coming down. This was during practice, and I look up, and I don't even think your glove was up, your blocker wasn't up. It was just your forehead right in the corner of the net, and I was like, what do I do?
And then
I might be able to sneak this one around his ear.
Oh, I see an opening there.
Yeah.
No, it's a fun spot to shoot for sure.
So TB, can you see us right now?
I can't. I was able to for a split second, but then this alert popped up that said use on the go, and then it blocked everything out. So
Okay. All right. Well, right before you jumped on, we were just telling the people about how obviously, well, you can't see it, but in the background here, I've got some palm trees, and we were just letting the people know why I've got palm trees behind us, and that's because I just got into Jacksonville, Florida yesterday. We're having our modern goaltending Florida camp here over the weekend, so we're pretty fired up about that. And I was also just going into detail about how sick the facility is here. Played here a few years ago, and there was nothing to it. They had one sheet of ice, and it was, I mean, I'll go out on a limb and just say it was very poorly kept. Now you walk in and there's, first off, 2 sheets of ice now, fully renovated lobby with a full restaurant and bar that pretty much slaps you right in the face when you walk through the door. And then, of course, you've got in the back of the arena is where the Jacksonville Icemen have their professional team has their facilities. And I was lucky enough to get a little bit of a walk through there today, and it's an unbelievable place. And I think we're very fortunate to be hosting our camp here, and excited for the week ahead, Stu.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a lot of work.
Gonna be a lot of work.
Dude, when are you heading down now?
I'm going Thursday. What do you have to say about that? That's the question.
I know you're a Midwest guy, right?
Oh yeah. Why?
Yeah, we don't see a lot of
I
sun up
probably
here,
know
so I'm just
exactly
saying.
what you're looking at right now, and it ain't palm trees.
Yeah, likewise. I think North Dakota and southern Manitoba have the exact same landscape. So I know how boring your drive is.
You can probably see Bismarck or whatever it is you said you were heading, and you're still 200 miles away.
Yeah, there's an old joke that says you can watch your dog run away for 3 weeks. So it's about right.
Awesome.
TV's in Grand Forks. Is somebody asked him where he's going? He just points over there. It's like 400 miles away from him. Yeah, it's over there.
You can see it from here.
I'm gonna leave at 6 a.m. You can still see me at 12 at noon. I'll be right over there.
All right, Stu. So I know you said you got something for us today. I'll let you kind of take it away. And TB, feel free to chip in with anything you want.
Hang on. Well, now that topic is like completely changed.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I had no idea this was going on. So now I'm in complete chaos.
What was the topic?
Well, we were going to talk about making like a system of improvement for your practices. But which I think would be cool. But that's for goalies. TB's a D-man. I feel like we got to get some defenseman perspective on some things. Okay, TB, here's a shot out of a cannon.
All right. Lay it on me.
Why was Leon Draisaitl poking and hoping in the finals? As a player, what are you thinking in that situation? Like, why are you doing that? Because remember we talked about this, Lotzi, where we're like, hey, why we don't know the play. Remember we were talking about players' mentalities. We don't know players' mentalities on these things. And now we have a player right here.
Yeah, and that's just one example. After you answer that question, I want to know why Brandon Montour slid feet first into his goalie in game 4?
Game 4. Yeah.
But anyways, not to get sidetracked.
All right. We gotta TB's gotta talk about the this facet of the game here.
Poking and hoping. Well, here's the thing. So I was working a lot during the game times. We were on the ice, so I'd only catch the last part of the second and the third. So I need you to explain this.
Well, he just had a lot of, whenever there was a puck battle, let's say there's a puck battle on the wall. Okay, Barkov would go into it, take the body, separate the guy from the puck, and then pass it to Reinhardt or somebody with speed, let's say through the middle or up the wall. Leon's approach
Yeah.
to puck battles on the wall would be poking it and then trying to like jump around it. So why would you do the second one rather than the first? Because the first is like so effective and your team goes on offense. The second one is poking it and then trying to jump around the defenseman, hoping you like poke it past him, I guess, and you can skate.
True. Scenario, I guess, where if you poke it and you're keeping all your speed, you're gone. You're absolutely gone. If it's trying to for himself, right? Like he wants the puck, like he's taking it to the net. Whereas when you said Barkov, he's separating the body and the puck. He's not doing that for himself to get the puck. He's hoping someone else is going to come in and his teammate's going to take it. So that's where my head's at.
Okay.
I would almost say Draisaitl is hoping for the best. Keyword hoping. Whereas Barkov would have probably a higher percentage of his teammate getting the puck.
So who has a high percentage of their team scoring off that? I guess would be my question.
I'm gonna say the Panthers.
Okay. So his mentality is that he wants to be the one to go score.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, he's been the guy up there for a long time, right? Like he's known as a goal scorer. He's a playmaker. I wouldn't say he's necessarily a body first guy, even though he's a bigger guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
And I think that goes into the playoff mentality too, buying in.
So you think part of that's just buying. So, but if I was playing for a cup, I feel like I would rather take body, give it to my guys if we have a better chance of scoring, because theoretically we should score more goals than the other team if I do that regularly. And we'll score more goals in general than if I try to like poke it and go score myself, right?
And I agree with that, but there's a difference between like in season play and playoff play. Like I feel like you gotta start dialing it into playoff play. You know, probably if not right away, you gotta dial it in before playoffs start because you're gonna have those bad habits in playoffs.
Right.
I feel like the poke, it's a bad habit.
Well, that's what we talked. We talked about that on one of the episodes. Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about during one of the episodes, the regular season is really just a training ground for playoff hockey. So the entire regular season, all you're doing is just preparing for playoffs. And that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there's internal pressure for him where he's like, if I don't score, nobody's going to score. I have to be the one to do it. And so he's like, I got to try to somehow get an odd man rush by poking it past this guy and jumping around him.
I feel that there's probably an internal pressure. That's not something that just happens in 1 year. Like him and McDavid have been the guys up there for I don't know however long, and then all of a sudden now this year they have a few more weapons with them. So, but he's still got those bad habits.
Yeah, like if you're a bad Oilers
during the
team,
year, he's got. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're a bad Oilers team, it may feel like you have to do everything. But now that they're good, they're in the finals, it's like you don't.
Exactly. And that's not something you can just flip a switch on. Like, you got to be able to trust that a teammate's going to come in. Once you separate the man and the puck, you got to trust a teammate's going to come in and pick it up.
Yeah, or be in position like through the middle with speed below you to give it to him.
So that's where I see it. I feel like it's all mental. All mental. A lot of the game is mental.
Yeah, and I feel like in playoffs, he didn't score as many goals probably as he usually wants to. He had we looked at his points. His points were okay, but his goal production compared to what he's used to. I don't know if he scored a goal in the finals. Did he? Can someone fact check me on that?
I would fact check you on that, but currently 10-2 on the wheel right now. So
good. Keep your hands on the wheel, brother.
No, but I like where you guys were going to bring this podcast about systems and systems for practice and getting better. I'm interested in that topic.
You want to go into that because you've been coaching. I think Lotzi should ask his question and then we should just go into that and then you can comment for forwards and defensemen in general, because really a system of improvement works across all positions and almost in every field of anything in life. So
okay, wait, but before we do that, I just need to make a point about Leon.
Yes.
I truthfully believe, and I think I said this before, that it's not that he doesn't give a shit. It's just that he doesn't know how to properly play the game.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I think that if I do think he's a dog. I think he's just never been taught properly how to play the game, probably because he's been sick his whole life and no one's ever felt the need to teach him anything.
Exactly. And that's where those habits come into play.
Yeah.
Like if you've been the guy your entire life and you've been allowed to play the way he's been playing, he's never been questioned before about his work ethic or his habits. And then now all of a sudden they're playing for a cup, and that's when those habits are so crucial. Those good habits as opposed to the bad ones that he's been instilled. So
right, and I think
100%.
people. I mean, from the outside looking in, but I'm sure his coaches and teammates see it even more than we do. He gets like extremely pissed off. Like he's actually an emotional player. So like that tells me alone that he cares. Just to further the point that I think he does care. He just doesn't know how to play. I don't want to say the right way, but like clearly if he's poking and hoping in the Stanley Cup final, he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing.
yeah.
Okay. So question number 2 from the off angle crew here for you, TB. On a 2-on-1, and I expect this to be a very complex answer, so not to set the bar too high before you give us one, but I expect it.
All right.
And I also expect there to be multiple situations within your answer.
Perfect. You guys should have texted me this beforehand so I could write some stuff down.
We're all in the same boat here, TB, except for Austin.
Yeah. As a D-man, I'm just going to make this as flat of a question as I possibly can and let you roll with it. As a D-man, how do you like to play a 2-on-1?
All right. This is what I like to do. So it depends the guy, if he's with the puck, if he's coming down whatever side, and it depends on the hand, I think, for sure. So if he's a righty coming down my left side, which would be the right side for the player with the puck,
his strong side,
then he's not only a shooting threat, but he's a passing threat. So I like to shade a little bit towards the guy rushing down the wall with the puck. And once he gets into, I would say, let's say like the top of the circle dot area, I start to fan off so he doesn't get the backdoor pass. Because I feel like goalies probably, if that pass gets backdoor, you guys pretty much have no chance. Like that's the D's guy. But you also have to give the impression that you're going to pressure the guy with the puck. So you got to make him think a little bit. So it's like, I would say you're 60-40, and then you start shading off towards the guy that's going backdoor. That's what I like. Whereas if that guy is on his offhand, you can pressure him more because there's probably a 10% chance a backhand sauce is getting perfect to the guy going backdoor. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Sense. I can picture exactly what you're saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
question within a question. Would you ever?
I like this.
Would you ever slide?
I'd say rarely.
Why?
Rarely. I don't know. I've always been taught that staying on your feet is probably the best case scenario, because that way, if the puck does get backdoor, you still have the ability to get over there and poke with your stick. Whereas if you're down and you slide back, you're sliding back into your goalie, one, which will then in turn knock one of you guys off your balance. So there's definitely no way you're getting backdoor to make that
Okay.
save, to make that sprawling save. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Okay, here's mine. I think almost every time, and I'm probably on an island by myself on this one.
We'll find out.
If executed properly, which I think a D-man of your skill set and hockey sense could do almost all the time. If executed properly, I think the slide is the way to go. Now,
I think so.
we talked about this on a previous podcast because what game was it? Game 4, Stu?
It was game 4. Lottie was upset that Montour slid into Bobrovsky, and then like they were both kind of out of the play.
Yeah, not kind of. They were against the boards behind the net
Essentially.
because Bobrovsky was swimming and Montour took probably the worst slide I've ever seen by an NHL D-man. Now, what Montour did was he took the 2-on-1 and he was kind of playing at 60-40. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stu. And instead of sliding feet first at a like 45-degree angle towards the puck,
Yep.
and the puck handler, he just slid. What's the new angle? Directly back. He just slid directly back. So
It's a good way to put it.
Since he went directly back instead of that 45-degree angle, and since Bobrovsky was probably a little bit too wild on the play and out of his crease, they just ran into each other. And that led to a goal against, which that's a story for another day, even though we've already talked about that.
Right.
How crazy that goal was. But my point is, if Montour just took that 45-degree angle, I think for one, the pass isn't getting across unless it's sauce, or maybe underneath like the tongue of the skates if his feet were like down on the, you know what I'm saying, where it's like his feet were flipped over.
I know what you're saying.
And even if it got sauced across, and Hayden and I mentioned this on the podcast, by the time a sauce gets over a D-man to the guy on the back door, which by the way probably isn't happening in most leagues, even the NHL, a goalie can beat that pass.
Because it's slow, because it's kind of like lofted. It's not a zip across. It's kind of lofted. So as soon as the goalie sees it go over there, it has to land before that guy can really do anything with it. So it's not nearly as fast.
Okay, so now you're making me think a little bit. I guess there is a bit of a caveat to sliding, right?
There's always a caveat.
It's always about timing.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing.
If the guy's coming down his strong side, and he's, let's say the angle to the net is like he's too low, like he's below the dot, he is maybe towards the bottom of the circle. I would say sliding is okay then, because you're gonna have the short side high, and we're still protecting the back door for the pass.
100%.
So it's all about timing. I'd say that scenario you can slide, or if it's your absolute last resort, like they already got you beat and you're kind of behind the play a little bit, I think that's the only way you can slide. Back door, or if you're late.
No, I mean I agree with that. We're definitely not saying slide at the tops of circles, because you're just toast.
I'd make an argument for it.
I'd probably wait till they're at the dot, and that's probably when I would do it.
I think in the most of the leagues that I've personally played in, it would work on most forwards.
I think I agree. I agree with the method. Well, I don't know if that methodology. I don't know if that's the word. I agree with the logic that if you have a forward on a 2-on-1, and by sliding at them, you immediately eliminate their time and space when they thought they had a bunch, I think it's going to force them to make so many mistakes, and they're going to panic, do something.
Yeah.
But if the forwards are smart at the top of the circles, they should be very wide. Like, they shouldn't be towards the middle of the ice. They should be dot lane both sides. Because now if they pass it across at the tops of circles, that's a far distance for the goalie to travel to stop that one-timer. Which you'll notice a lot of forwards, they like to carry it into the dot and hash mark level before they pass it. When you watch a lot of NHL 2-on-1 goals, it's passed at or above the tops of circles, and they rip it. And because the goalie has to go so far, and it's nearly impossible for a D to cover two guys that are that far apart, it's like a guaranteed goal.
Yeah.
Yes. There's different plays, and there's different, it's really all situational. Because if he's backhand, you can just go at him, and there's no way he's getting that pass across.
Yeah, and he might not be able to carry it on his forehand, because that's going to be right next to your stick probably.
Yeah,
right.
And if he's backhand, you got to think he's either going to cut to the middle,
Yeah.
So that way you can still protect the middle. Yeah, it's just there's a
Right.
lot of situations in the game that
Can
you can't really prepare
can
for.
we all agree that the worst way to play a 2-on-1 is the hybrid slide?
That's
Which
one
is
of
like
You got to
that's
explain
one of
that.
the worst ways.
so the hybrid slide is it's a couple different things. It's one, either the D-man goes on like one knee, which I've seen numerous times because you can tell they're like, oh, I'm in a bad spot and I don't want to slide. And then they just go down one knee and it goes through their triangle or legs or whatever. Or two, and this one's my favorite, is when a D-man literally just loses his kneecaps and just bends over straight-legged and puts his like entire shaft of his stick on the ice, hoping to block the pass.
The flat stick.
Yeah, that's got to get out of there. That's got to get out of there.
I think
It happens all the time.
it does. I think if you can, you should absolutely go stick on puck.
100%. And it's
If
not
your blade's
it's not a
on their
stick
blade, they can't
straight
pass.
out. Yeah, it's not a stick straight out because that's doing nothing. You're showing triangle.
Right.
That stick's got to be
Yeah.
right at the puck.
Absolutely. I agree. We've talked about, we think, okay, yes. And one of the ways that I've seen 2-on-1s played by defensemen, but that I think if it's not the worst, it's the second worst, is they just go to the backdoor guy and then the puck carrier just has a breakaway to the net.
Oh my God, that's the worst. That's
Okay.
mine was the second
so we can
worst.
agree on that because I've seen a lot of defensemen. All they do is just go completely like, okay, I have backdoor, so they just go right to the backdoor guy. But then now you like took a 2-on-1 and you just changed it into a breakaway.
Yeah, and no one else to blame except for the coaches that you hear still to this day, but throughout my whole childhood, is them telling the defenseman to take the pass away. So D-men are
So
just like,
see, I think that gets lost in translation. So coach is saying the puck can absolutely not get backdoor, and so they're taking that literally, taking that guy out of the play. I think what they need to do is just, like I said, 60-40, 70-30, something, so where they can still pressure the guy with the puck. Like that. That's just, I think, an explanation thing.
Right. I mean,
that's where you can break down the video.
Yeah. And I see what you're saying, because if you're 60-40, let's say, towards the backdoor guy, and that puck carrier tries to take it to the net, he now has to come to you where you are, which is the middle of the ice or just off it.
Yep.
So as soon as he tries to take it to the net, you're just stick on puck and the play is probably done. He has to almost shoot that before.
yes.
I think, and this might be a wild take, so bear with me.
I'm buckled up and ready for it.
Yeah, good. You literally have your seatbelt on right now anyways. So this is a good time to go through it. I hope. If you're doing what you're talking about, TB, if you make that pass difficult for that first forward to get it to the back side, I don't think it's the end of the world if the puck gets there. I think what the end of the world is when that puck gets there and then it goes back across. It's like one pass across backdoor that's like just inside the hash marks to just inside the dot, like not a very long pass. If it gets across there once, it's going to be hard. If you make that pass difficult, it's going to be hard for it to be in the wheelhouse. It's going to be hard for it to be on the tape. The guy, even if they get it, probably can't get a good shot off. If they do get a shot off, it's probably just going to hit the middle of the net because they're just trying to get it on net at this point. I think the worst thing that can happen is it goes across and then it goes back across, and that's when you're just completely toast. So I think if you can make that first pass difficult, now the defenseman should just keep that second pass from getting across.
Yeah, and that, which is tough because as a D, you're thinking if that pass gets back there, oh, I didn't do my job. So then you're kind of forgetting about the guy that just passed it. You're like, oh crap, I messed up on my first assignment. Now I'm in panic mode. And you're forgetting about the guy going back door again.
Yeah, I get that, TV, but I think as the D-man receiving the 2-on-1, you got to be looking up the ice and just seeing like your D partner straight legging it back.
Yeah,
I'd be pointing my finger at that guy.
I was gonna say the fact that it's hard. You cannot. I don't think you can panic in that situation because the fact that you're on a 2-on-1 to begin with means that somebody made a tragic mistake up the ice.
Yeah.
And now,
you know what's even more fun than that is 3-on-1s.
What do you know about those, TV?
That means there were multiple tragic mistakes made at the other end of the ice.
We got guys
So,
changing. We got
yeah.
guys just laying down.
I love the faith they have in you back there, TB.
But let me tell you, as a D, you see
Oh,
a 3-on-1.
TB's got it.
You're standing there. You're like, well, nothing I can really do here.
I mean, even 2-on-1s, forwards are supposed to score. If you play it right,
Yeah.
you should probably score.
Should. So, as a goalie, how would you like to see a D play that?
I want you to slide right into the guy.
Yeah. I like that. I would like, okay, if they're at the tops of circles, I'd like to see you shade towards the puck carrier like you talked about. Once they get like below the dot, like you said, I think you just slide right at the guy. And I think, yeah, because it's going to make him do one. First of all, now he can't pass it on the ice through you. So the back door is not going to happen. He's going to have to sauce it. But because you're going at him, he's going to have to like pull the puck away to sauce it. If he tries to cut back, your stick's going to be there. You should have back pressure. You better have back pressure. Or what he's going to have to do is carry it around the goal line below you. And now he's probably below the goal line, or at the very least, an incredibly difficult passing angle to get it to that other guy. So you might just have to wish it on the net from that bad angle, or take it behind the net, which buys everybody time to come back.
All right. So let's say that I do slide at this guy coming down his strong side.
Yeah.
But he's railroading, right? So his feet, he's just standing still, feet wide angle. He's getting ready to just toe drag me or hesitate a little bit and watch me slide right by. Now it's a 2-on-0. Is that my fault?
No.
Yeah. I don't. Now, okay. Now let me. I want to counter your question with a question. So I guess I don't know if they talk about this in defense, but I don't know how to explain this concept, but I would call it depth. So like you want to be almost in the middle of the two forwards. If you have too big of a gap, they can pass it across above you. Or if you're too high, they can get behind your heels and pass it across. Does that concept make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's say you have good depth. You're matching their speed, which I'm assuming you want to try to do on a 2-on-1. If you slide at the guy and he now tries to pull it around you, do you not have probably like 2 or 3 feet of arm and then 5 feet of stick? So aren't you covering like 8 feet of depth as soon as you slide with between your arm and your stick and just everything? Because you're going to be right on top of him.
Yeah, you are. But there's always that chance that it just slides right through you. And you just look ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what? I'd take that chance.
I would too. But it's
we'll
interesting
put that in the playbook down.
We should try it.
It's interesting to hear TB's point of view on this because we talked about it, and one of our points was literally what you just said, how there's like 9 feet of extra length that if someone tries to toe drag, you've got the arm and the stick. But even he's saying right now that doesn't always work.
No, that's what it could like slide under your armpit or something stupid. But hopefully if you make him toe drag, hopefully at least it's a pressured 2-on-0. Like, because in some world you should have somebody coming back with you, right? Because if this guy's railroading, that means they don't have as much speed.
Yeah.
Or are we talking like everybody's changed? Everything's changed. This is a clean cut guys, closest guys at the red line, 2-on-1.
TV's talking about our power play when the boys just trust him on the back end and they're like, we're gonna go 4 deep here, and if there's a 2 or 3-on-1, TV's got it.
Love that.
Yeah, so it's a 2-on-1 coming down on the power play. We got they're banking on me stopping that, so they got a nice, what would it be? A nice 4-on-2, right?
Yeah. At the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess pretty much my whole career I've been taught going down is last resort, or on the PK if I'm net front D and they got a guy off the strong side post and they got a guy back door. That's a long body situation.
Okay.
Where I'm like off your outside leg.
Yeah, and I like that. And the only reason we said, not the only reason, but a big reason why Montour ran into Bob to begin with is because Bob himself made a mistake and was out of position. And that was one of the things that we talked about.
Yeah, they both played it terribly.
But I've seen a lot. I mean, when I was in juniors, our D did that. and I saw a lot of opposing forwards when they would have a clean cut 2-on-1, just shoot it off the D's feet. So think about if you slide, your feet are back behind you. They would see the D sliding at them, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with the puck. So now they panic, like shoot it, and it just goes like off your heel or your toque or something and goes in the corner.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I guess in a lot of leagues that forwards aren't going to have the skill or the patience to hold on to it. You're right. So they are probably going to panic. So every once in a while you may get burned, but I would say 95% of the time it's not going to get through. So
yeah, and especially if you have good depth, they have to like, it has to slide through your armpit essentially. And think about that forward is also like, oh, if I try to toey this guy by myself and the puck just flubs into the corner, like that guy I think will look stupid as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I mean, game mentality. Like you as a forward, how often do you get a 2-on-1 realistically?
I'd say not very often. I'd say more 3-on-2s than anything.
Right. So not very often. Okay, so now you're in a live game. Your adrenaline's going. You finally get one. First thought in your mind is, "Oh my gosh, I have a 2-on-1. We have to score." So like,
yeah.
I think their adrenaline's going a little bit too. And the last thing I would imagine as a forward, and this is where TB has to come into play. As a player, I feel like the last thing you're thinking is, I cannot completely destroy this 2-on-1. Like I can't mess this 2-on-1 up.
Yeah, see, that's not really going through my head.
Okay.
I can't mess it up.
When TB gets 2-on-1s, he just knows he's scoring short side J bar.
TB's. I am closing my eyes and I'm ripping this as hard as I can. High short side.
If he doesn't have the puck, he's slapping his stick from the far blue line.
It's a beaver tail.
I'm beaver tapping all the way down
the ice.
Screaming my head off. Now,
I love
2-on-1s, if I got a back checker and he's within range of getting the guy back door, I'm going all out on the wall.
Yeah, that 100%.
100%. So it really depends on back checkers for sure.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is that it's easy to it's very easy in a lot of things hockey to lay a blanket over something and say this is how you should do it. But it's there's so many different variables that go into it. Like I had a coach ask me, he's got a shot in this, or let's say a D gets loose up top and now he has a chance to shoot it. Should he just shoot it? And I was like, well, it depends. Does he have a guy backdoor behind the goalie's heels? Is the goalie leaning short side? Should he shoot to score? Should he pass it? It's like there's so many things that go on in one moment, in one split second, that could completely change what you do.
Yeah. It's a tough game to prepare for. Like it's all just about reps. It's all about reads, I guess. I mean, I was thinking about this before I hopped on the call. I was thinking, like all these really good players in NHL, like let's say Kane. I wouldn't put McDavid in this. Maybe he's like the best player ever, but I'm only focused on like Kane and those older generations of really good players. It almost seems like they don't care, but I wouldn't say that they don't care. It's just confidence. They're confident in their abilities, so it looks like they're not trying hard, but they just have so much. They're oozing confidence. Like they've been in all these scenarios before, so they're not panicking.
Yeah.
I guess. So, I was thinking about that.
Especially someone like Kane, who's been in so many Stanley Cup playoff high pressure situations.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about a guy that's been there before.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. The only reason I wouldn't say that about McDavid is because every time you watch him, it looks like he's just trying so hard. Like he's just skating so fast. His hands moving fast. His feet are moving. Like that's the only reason I wouldn't, just because it looks like he cares all the time.
What about Crosby? I feel like he cares. I feel like he looks like he cares a lot when he's like, he's like cross-checking in the ribs and he's getting to the net.
That's just he's so intense. That's just a habit thing, right? Like he's been working that hard his entire life. Like looking at his dryer or whatever that used to shoot in, like that's just intense practice.
Yeah,
I feel like there is parts of his game too where his confidence shows in that regard too. Like I've watched him play before where when he doesn't have the puck, like he's always in the right spots, but he's also just, you can tell he's got that confidence that like he's in the right spot, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all positional too. I guess
I
are
mean,
there goalies like that where you're watching them and it's like, oh, he doesn't look like he's trying very hard, but you think it's just it must just all be confidence and positional play. Are there goalies like that where you question his
oh
work
yeah.
ethic?
Oh yeah. There's a goalie that the entire hockey world questions his work ethic all the time, but he's working his butt off, and he's also maybe the best to ever play. Do you know what I'm talking about, Lotzi?
This episode is brought to you by Vita Era Hydration. Vita Era addresses two critical issues for a healthy lifestyle. First, throughout your day, you lose essential vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes. Whether you're taking a walk, working out, or engaging in any energy-intensive activity, Vita Era replenishes these nutrients without the processed sugars and artificial additives like sucralose or aspartame found in many hydration products. Instead, Vita Era uses stevia, one of the healthiest natural sweeteners, to provide a refreshing taste. Second, with 60 to 70% of our bodies made up of water and 75% of people chronically dehydrated, it's showing that we're not drinking enough water. As an additive to water, Vita Era encourages you to increase your water intake. Vita Era is a 3-in-1 solution. It provides your everyday essential vitamins and minerals, green tea for enhanced performance and recovery, and electrolytes to maximize hydration efficiency. Each serving includes 500 milligrams of potassium, equivalent to the potassium content of a banana. Stay hydrated. Drink Vita Era. Yeah, I do. I'm just
Are
wondering
we
if
talking
TB
about
does.
Lukanen?
Nope.
I don't know. Let's see. I mean, Vasilevsky, right?
No,
no?
I think the big cat
He-
looks like he tries.
He looks sick, but he looks like he's working super hard all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Then. Who are we talking about? I'm not a goalie guy.
Hey,
When we say this,
before you tell him, Stu, give him a hint. It should click for him.
give him a hint.
I'll give you a hint.
Ooh, that's
He's
a good-
Is it Stu's favorite goalie?
One of them for sure. He's still he's active, but he's not retired.
Active, but he's not retired. It's not the guy you were trying to get on the pod, is it? You were like, if we were in the same room as this guy, he would tell us we're wrong.
That's
No, but that's a good guess.
That's a good guess, but Hank is very retired. Is that who we were talking about?
I didn't know. That's who I was talking about.
I think when we
I
say it,
wasn't
you'll
sure if
be
he
like,
was officially
obviously.
retired.
He's retired. He's officially retired. This guy is not, but he's only played like one game in the past 2 years.
I mean, is anyone really officially retired? You know?
Yeah.
I think they have to sign a
All
retirement
right.
paper, don't they?
I don't know about that. I feel like they just announced their retirement.
I thought they had to sign a retirement thing. You can just come out of it.
You would know more than me.
I don't know why you say that, but I'm pretty sure they do.
All right, Stu. Who is it?
Gary Price.
Carey.
Everyone's like, he is just so lazy and nonchalant in the net. It's almost like he doesn't care. But if you watch him, he's working his butt off. He just looks he's just so smooth with his skating ability and his ability. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I don't tend to really watch the goalies that much
Right.
like you guys do. Like you guys break them down quite a bit. And I guess Carey, like you said, he hasn't played a game in a while, so how would I know that? Stu.
Yeah, people just look at him and are
Everybody
like,
knows Gary Price.
I feel like through his entire career, people are just questioning his work ethic because of, like you said, how smooth he is.
Yeah. And if he's like intense and like ready to play and all that.
Yeah.
I guess there's
And
like as a player, I guess you can see the same thing in like how they skate. Like if they're a really efficient
Right.
skater, it looks like they're not trying, but they're going super fast. Now I'll say Jack Eichel, even though not the biggest Eichel fan, he looks like he's not skating fast out there, but he is like a horse. Like his stride is so good.
yeah,
Like That's one of those things.
That was also interestingly enough. That was also the first guy I thought of when you're talking about doesn't look like they're going fast or working hard, but he covers like the neutral zone in like 2 strides. Like he's so powerful.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. So when he was with Buffalo still, I would go to some games with my aunt and uncle. And I wasn't the biggest fan of how he played and how he acted. I think they gave him a letter too early in his career, but I would never question his speed and his skating ability. It was more so the mental side of the game and how he acted in front of his teammates on the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cocky comes to mind.
I mean, Buffalo certainly has had their difficulties with young players who end up being really good when they move on from there.
I'm calling it 3 years. 3 years they're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I said 5 years 2 years ago, so I'm keeping that stretch.
Wow.
It might be sooner than that.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. Buffalo Sabres aren't making the playoffs in 3 years.
You know what? I don't like that attitude out of you, Austin.
Look, I was talking with a big Sabres fan this week, and they definitely have to change some things around the culture and whatnot.
Maybe sign some good people. Start there.
Well, hang on. Well, hang on.
They got rid of Jeff.
They signed Ryan O'Reilly, who moved on.
Why? Why did he move on?
I don't know. He had a rocky start in Buffalo, I think. They signed Jack Eichel. They signed Sam Reinhart.
Good guy.
They signed Brandon Montour. They signed Linus Ullmark.
Good guy.
Who am I missing? Kyle Okposo, although he's not as good now.
I don't know, but all the guys you're listing off are all good guys
and cup champions
that aren't there anymore, right?
Yeah, Lynn Ullmark isn't. Right, they're not there anymore.
Because my uneducated opinion on the Buffalo Sabres is that place is so cancerous that when a good guy comes in, he's seen as a cancer and he's gone.
This guy's too good of a guy. Get him out of here.
Yeah, this guy's way too nice. He works too hard. Get him out of here.
Let me get my aunt and uncle on the call, then they'll really chew your ear off.
We definitely need that. But I think, but go ahead.
The proof is in the pudding on that one, TB. So I feel like I have a leg to stand on against your aunt and uncle, but I'm still scared.
Lotsy, didn't they sign some guy named I don't know, Ryan Miller?
Yeah, back when they were good. And then what happened when Millsy left?
Yeah, then they went downhill.
Yeah, Millsy seems like a guy who has principles and standards.
That's awesome. But now the Sabres have Lindy Ruff back.
Lindy Ruff's back at the helm.
He is back, and so I think he was their coach when they had like Ryan Miller and all those guys, right?
Yeah. So maybe they're trying to instill some of that old culture back, that winning culture. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they bought out Jeff Skinner's contract.
I think they did do something like that.
And where did he go, Stu? Do you know?
Did he go to the Blackhawks?
No.
Jeff Skinner. Where'd he go?
He went to the Oil.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So now here's the thing: is he's gonna? I feel like he's gonna work his balls off because, pardon my language there, but he's gonna work really hard because I think they're expecting another run next year.
If you make the finals, definitely the first thing you're expecting is another run.
I expect them to win if they don't listen to this podcast.
But that's the thing. Was he complacent? Was he complacent in Buffalo because he was collecting? I don't know what he was collecting an insane amount of money.
Yeah, and they're maybe not a good
average amount of work for that money.
Oh yeah,
that's a guy you want in your dressing room. Good call, Edmonton. Let's get that guy in here.
Yeah, but you got to remember their GM is also now Stan Bowman, who, as a Hawks fan, is not my favorite probably.
What's wrong with Stan Bowman?
TB, you want to take this one? Do you know?
I feel like you're more well versed in the
Well,
the GM side of things.
I mean, I just think, the Hawks won cups with him as GM, but I feel like they had a really good team, and it kind of got disintegrated a little bit. And then, I don't know, just bad like moves. I mean, we traded Artemi Panarin for Brandon Saad. What are we talking about right now?
It's a good trade.
What are we doing?
That's a bad trade.
Look at his trade history. He's got rinsed in like 3 Brandon Saad trades. He loves Brandon Saad for some reason.
Wasn't Patty Kane and Panarin like best friends too?
Yes, they were like the best line in hockey.
I'm sure Patty was happy on that one, eh?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I was really convinced was going to happen with Patty Kane?
What?
I thought after his surgery, I thought he was going to sign in Buffalo, go back home.
Oh,
yeah, I was hoping for that, TB. I thought that'd be cool.
I think he kind of wants a chance at winning, though.
Yeah.
Gosh. Wow.
How annoying is that?
I didn't come on here to be ridiculed, Stu.
I'm not ridiculing you. I think that's more a chirp at the Sabres.
In part, though. I'm a fan.
Buffalo is your team?
Yeah, I love Buffalo. Love Buffalo. I've never been even though I lived in Minnesota my whole life, never been a huge Wild fan. But my dad's from Buffalo. My aunt and uncle lived in Buffalo or live in Buffalo. My grandma was there. So
damn.
I love Buffalo sports fans.
Don't let your family listen to this podcast, TV.
He said they're. Listen to it. He said they're going to be on it.
Poster in my room growing up.
That's awesome. The Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
That's sick.
He was all time as a Buffalo Sabre.
Yeah.
That's probably the last time I actually liked the Buffalo Sabres was when the Dominator was there.
I think I liked him when Miller time was there.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with Miller time, but the Dominator was enough for me to not hate the Sabres.
Why do you hate the Sabres to begin with?
Don't know. This is just one of the things with me. I have no reason to. I think hate's a strong word, but we'll just roll with it. I have no reason to hate certain teams or players, and I just do. Don't know.
Was Dan? Is it because they don't like long hair and soul patches?
You never said anything about the soul patch. It was just the ponytail, or no, at that time it was the bike helmet. With the extra firm hair gel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could. What did we say last time? You could crack an egg on that thing.
You could cook an egg on it.
You could.
Lottie, I feel like Lottie could cook or not cook. I feel like you could grow a good soul patch.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Wait till you see pictures. Look, you would think though, with Danny Bilesma at the helm, that they were just dialed in.
You'd think he had me. Hey, I had one conversation. I had one conversation with that guy, and the next day I shaved my head. That's how mentally. That's how screwed up.
That's how mentally dialed it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was interested in hearing your thoughts about circling back to your question about a system of getting better. So I've been struggling with this a little bit this summer, working with younger kids, and then going on into like the high school age. How do you verbalize what you like? So we've been playing hockey for most of our lives. Let's say anywhere between 25 and 30 years. We've been doing this exact same things. How do you verbalize how to get better at certain things with younger kids? Like, how do you guys think about what to say beforehand, or is it like, because that I feel like that's the toughest part to me, is a lot of this is second nature, like driving a car.
Yeah, they call that
there's
some sort of term for that. That's like the curse of being an expert or something like that, where when you've actually done something for so long and you're so good at it, you're actually worse at teaching it, because you can't convey the idea of how to do something because you never have to think about it.
So for
But
you guys, when you guys are getting ready to start these camps, let's say you got younger kids that are enthusiastic about being a goalie, where do you start them out at? Like, are
I-
you just trying to have fun, or are you trying to teach them the basics?
both are incredibly important.
I think it depends on the age. Like there's a huge, and I've learned this from being a coach and a dad, I guess, but there's a huge age gap, or there's a huge difference between the ages of 5 and 8. And then there's another huge difference of the ages between 8 and 12, you know? So it's different for me, it's different for each age. If the kid is under 8 years old, my whole approach to coaching them is to make it fun and teach them things without them even knowing I'm necessarily doing so. Now that's generally speaking, because you get the odd kid who's 7 years old and he's just like dialed like a 11-year-old. But for the most part, I'm saying. But I think generally speaking, for all the coaching we do, if there's a kid that's not necessarily at a high level, for me, it's all about just breaking it down to them. So like I can start the conversation by, here's the drill, do this. And if I see that they don't understand what I'm talking about, or if they just voice it, then you just got to break it down. So you say, okay, what are you struggling with? And they say, well, you told me to do you told me to do a reverse VH. I don't know what that is. Okay, well then let's start there. So then I show them the fundamentals of a reverse VH. So I think for me, it's just I'm not willing to, the way I approach coaching, I'm not willing to necessarily, or for lack of a better term, dumb things down, but I'm willing to break things down for that so that they can understand it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say
sense.
that's a big thing. I would say also so take everything that Lottie just said and take that. Okay, that's what we do. To add on to that, I think I like to try to verbally explain to them a skill. Then I'll try to show them myself. Then they'll try it, and when they do the right thing, like they have the right feeling, I'll reinforce it and say, that's right, good job, that's what you should do. Like, for example, if they go in their butterfly and their pads aren't rotating, I'll just have them sit on their knees, be on their knees in their butterfly, and then try to get their pads rotated. And then I'm like, okay, that's how your pads should be when you're in the butterfly. That's what it should feel like. So kind of try to get the feeling. I mean, TB, for you, I feel like as a defenseman coach, it might be you can do that, but also you probably have a little bit more capacity to show them exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's where I struggle. Is I feel like a lot of it. So I'm showing them the drill. I'm demonstrating it in front of them, but there's so many intricacies of like shooting or collecting a puck off the wall. Like I feel like I'm thinking in my head in that exact moment how to verbalize it to them. Whereas I feel like it's better to maybe, a couple days before, like you got a plan ready. Like you have to think about how to say it and what to say. That's where I struggle, is trying to make it easier for them to understand.
I think that's a good point. And there are, like, you're right. There's 100 little things you're doing at every given moment on the drill. I would say, I mean, at least what I try to do is try to focus on like one thing for that drill that they need to work on, or one or two things.
Yeah.
So for us, it'd probably be like, make sure you T-push and stop hard. And if they do those two things on the drill, that's what I'm happy about. I don't even care if they stop the puck.
And another big part of that, and Stu just click the thing off my brain, is I find that explaining why you're doing something is extremely important too. So like for you might know why you're teaching them how to slide on a 2-on-1, but they might not have any idea. They might, and then it's like when you know the why to what you're being taught, I feel like it's easier to do. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I've started trying to do that. So I'm not only working with like defensemen. Like I'm working with forwards or kids that are playing all over the place. So the other day we were working on like in tight shots, like right off the post. So it was like you want to pull it from your backhand quick to your forehand and try to get it upstairs as quick as possible. And I saw some kids, they'd pull it from their backhand to their forehand, but then they're shooting back across to where they just pulled it from. And so I had to stop and think. I was like, well, if you shoot it back across, the goalie's going to be right there. You're trying to get it up and over as quick as possible to the other side because the goalie's still probably going to be moving over that way.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like,
I think that
like,
right
that's
there is
where,
how you.
like having a.
That's how you explain it to them. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that, you know? Like, hey, why would you? What's the point of bringing it backhand to forehand if you could have just put it in the same spot on the backhand in the first place?
Yeah, exactly. So I guess just trying to find little scenarios like that where it's like well contained. Like you're just focusing on, like you said, if you're focusing on T-push and stopping hard, like that's all you're focusing on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because
it's holding it across and getting it.
Yeah, I mean, I find it's you know, people can usually focus on one thing or a couple things at a time. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do all 20 things right if you're still learning a skill, a position, or a sport all at one time.
Yeah, it'd be pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, I can only handle one thing at a time. I can't walk and chew gum.
Do you find it's easier to coach in a group setting or one-on-ones? Like they're completely different in my opinion. Like completely different.
I feel like even in our group settings at our camps, I'm doing a lot of one-on-one coaching.
Yeah. But then in those one-on-one settings, you're saying things to one kid that would be beneficial to an entire group if you would say it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough because like you got to think in our camps, when I'm talking to one kid, there's another kid in the net that I'm also watching. So it's hard to, you don't want to take much time to pull them all in and, you know, talk for a few minutes because you're trying to get them reps of what they're doing. And then you kind of, you tell them what they're supposed to do and then we demo it and then they go in and do it. And then you tell them what they could do better. They refine it and then they go in a second time and do it again.
Yeah.
Nothing's more frustrating than when you've got like a group of like 3 goalies or players, I guess, for TB, and you're talking out loud where everyone can hear you and you're explaining something to the goalie and how he should do something differently. And then the next goalie goes in there and does the exact same thing because he just wasn't listening to you. That's why like, whenever we do our camps, it's like I always make an emphasis, especially to the younger kids, when you're not in the net, go on one knee and watch and listen, learn from them at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
That's huge because a lot of kids don't do that.
I had this exact scenario this past week. We were doing a speed and acceleration camp, and we were going around cones and working on power turns and exploding out of it. And the first player did it perfect. But then there was a player in like the middle of the line that was asking me what we're supposed to be doing, and I was like, just watch the people in front of you. Like I explained it, but I was like, just a rule of thumb: if you watch in front of you, you'll see exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Like I'll help out still, but I promise you, if you just observe, it'll go better.
Yeah, that actually goes such a long way. Even that little thing when young players or anybody is in a group setting, even that little thing goes such a long way. And especially speed and acceleration and edges and any of that stuff is young players do not enjoy working on that. It's no fun.
No.
You'd rather get a puck and play a game and score goals and
yeah, it's tough to keep them engaged in that stuff, but it's so important. Like that, that is the fundamental basics of hockey. If you can't skate or can't turn, it's going to be tough. Like everyone can do toe drag standing stuff.
Yeah, I mean the best players, like you were talking about earlier, separate themselves with their skating. You're talking about how good of a skater Eichel is and how it makes the game effortless for him.
Yeah. It's all good stuff. I should. I wish I wasn't driving. I'd be writing this down in a notebook.
Well,
you know what?
The YouTube notebook for you.
It'll be it'll be on the interwebs. I think this is not going to be your last time talking with us here. We should get you we should get you an episode very soon. If it's not, maybe in a couple weeks, because we're going to be on site this week, but maybe in a couple weeks. and just have you back on and talk more stuff. Because I have to go jump on the ice as we're talking about that right now. But I think we need to go into that development system type thing. I think that'd be a really cool episode.
Yeah, I would love that. And
You're not done with us yet, TB. You're not done with us as much as you want to be.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, next time we have you on, TB, it'd be nice if we could see your face, so I'm not just staring at a picture of you from 3 years ago. As hot as you look, like it's an incredible picture. Every time you talk, it's just I've just been staring at it, and every time you talk, it like
the hair, the suit,
it's hot. It looks good.
You look like look like you're running for South Dakota Senate.
North Dakota, but whatever.
Yeah. It's like get it right.
No, that'd be fun. Once we get back together, I'm expecting a microphone with my name on it. So.
Oh, you'll have one.
Yeah, we'll have
one. Well, all right, brother. Good job, guys.
All right, guys.
We broke down a nice little random assortment of.
Yeah, that was good.
Items.
I am absolutely sweating my balls off right now, sitting on this chair.
Okay,
I'm ready. I'm gonna jump in that. I'm gonna jump in that pool.
Let's get you out of the hot seat. Are you gonna jump in it? Are you gonna jump in it right now?
I am, and I think my wife's pissed off because I think she wanted to jump in, but she didn't want to get in the camera. So I think she's all pissed.
Why don't you just literally? You want to literally jump in right now?
I would, but I know as soon as I get up and turn around, you guys will see about a 4-inch sweat stain on my gray underwear.
Hey, you better not stick your head under the water. You got to protect that hair. Look at that.
Yeah. All right. So maybe save all of us and everybody.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Being subjected to that, that'd be mortifying.
But I'm not going to stick my head underwater. I'm going to hold it underwater in the next 2 minutes.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That's all we got for today. Good work, fellas. TB with the surprise appearance.
Yeah, thank you, TB.
TB from the top rope today.
Yeah. That's all I got, boys.
That's all I got. All right. Till next time.
Adios.
See you, TB. Adios.
See ya.